February 6th, 2011, Arlington, Texas, Super Bowl XLV. 1 minute 59 remaining. Big Ben is about to start his second potential game-winning drive in the Super Bowl, as illustrated by Rich Eisen in his post-game coverage.
Try and do to the Packers what he did to the Cardinals just 2 years ago.
It has been an absolutely electrifying game up until this point. Green Bay started off incredibly strong with a Rodgers touchdown to Jordy Nelson, a pick-six by safety Nick Collins, and a laser touchdown pass from Rodgers to Greg Jennings into tight coverage at the goal line, all of which gave Green Bay a 21-3 lead at the 2-minute warning in the first half. Pittsburgh, though, started coming back. With 39 seconds left in the second quarter, Roethlisberger found tight end Hines Ward in the end zone to cut the lead to 11. In the third, running back Rashard Mendenhall made the score 21-17. Green Bay had not only suffered from some bad drops, but also some detrimental injuries, with Donald Driver suffering a knee injury early in the second quarter, and Charles Woodson suffering a broken collarbone right before the half, both of whom did not return. At the start of the fourth quarter, it was starting to look like the game was slipping through Green Bay's hands. It appeared Pittsburgh would spoil the Cinderella story and win a record 7th Super Bowl title as a franchise. Until
Pittsburgh with the ball down by 4. Mendenhall, loss of football, picked up by Bishop.
This was all Rodgers needed to find Jordy Nelson on 3rd and 10 for 38 yards. 2 plays later, he found Greg Jennings in the back of the end zone around the same spot Roethlisberger had found Hines Ward earlier. But Pittsburgh wasn't going away. Instead, Big Ben found Mike Wallace for a 25-yard touchdown, and Antoine Randall ran it in on the 2-point conversion to make it 28-25. With 6 minutes left, Rodgers had an absolutely clutch dime to Greg Jennings over the middle on 3rd and 10 for 31 yards. However, Pittsburgh was able to prevent another touchdown, and so Aaron Rodgers was forced to relinquish control of the rest of the game. Down 25-31, only 6 points and 1 score, Roethlisberger now has the chance to deliver a heartbreaking blow to the Green Bay faithful, hence the point we are at now. What will happen?
A lot of contact. This ball is incomplete, but it was a 4th down pass.
But something not a lot of people remember is that he has done this before. No, not just in the Super Bowl against the Arizona Cardinals, but he has led a game-winning drive down 6 against this Packers team, and he did it the year before in 2009. In Week 15, the Packers and Steelers met in Heinz Field, both teams looking to make the playoffs. Rodgers led a touchdown drive down 2 and brought Green Bay to a 6-point lead at the 2-minute warning. But Ben Roethlisberger responded with a clutch touchdown drive himself, which ended with a 19-yard pass to Mike Wallace in the corner of the end zone on the final play of the game. This begs the question, how was he able to do it then, but not in the Super Bowl? What changed the second time around? Now first, we must point out the obvious. The first game was played in Pittsburgh, whilst the second game was played in a neutral site with the whole country watching. But aside from the visible setting change, let's look at the high-scoring 2009 matchup first. In total, Big Ben had a monster game, throwing for 503 yards and 3 touchdowns, with 29 completions on 46 pass attempts. When looking at this final drive, we must take this and clearly see that Green Bay's defense could not keep up with this high-powered offense. Now that is surprising when you take into account the fact that in 2009, the Packers' defense ranked 7th overall in yards allowed and 7th in points allowed, including having the Defensive Player of the Year in Charles Woodson, who racked up a league-leading 9 interceptions. But the very next year in 2010, the year they won the Super Bowl, the defense improved to 5th in yards allowed and 2nd in points allowed. Clearly something changed in the offseason, and I believe the players looked at losses like this and knew something needed to change. And change they did, recording 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery that proved crucial in the Super Bowl against the Steelers. Now we've made clear the difference in the 2 games, but what about the final drives themselves? Both times Aaron Rodgers had 3 touchdowns and no picks, putting Pittsburgh in a dire situation in need of a final score. Pittsburgh even started their final drive at almost the exact same points, the 14-yard line and 13-yard line respectively. So with all the similarities, what made Pittsburgh able to pull off the win the first time, but only score one first down and stall out at their own 33 the second time. Well, on the very first play of the final drive in 2009, Charles Woodson was flagged for defensive holding, giving Pittsburgh an automatic first down instead of 2nd and 4. 6 plays later, Roethlisberger was intercepted in a play that everyone thought would end the game. However, Brendan Chiller was flagged for illegal contact before the ball was thrown, giving Pittsburgh yet another automatic first down on a 1st and 20 play. But that's not all. With 32 seconds left, Roethlisberger was sacked at the Green Bay 39, but Green Bay was once again flagged with defensive holding. Right off the bat, we can see that on 3 different occasions, Green Bay was not only flagged, but also flagged on mostly the same kind of penalty on all 3 plays, 2 of which happened on a play that resulted in a pick or sack. But how else did they allow Pittsburgh to score? After getting sacked on 1st and 10, Roethlisberger found a wide-open Heath Miller for 7 yards. After nearly getting picked on 3rd and 7, Big Ben found trusted receiver and Super Bowl XLIII MVP Santonio Holmes for 32 yards. Later, he found Heath Miller twice, first on 3rd and 15 for 20 yards, second, a 15-yard pass that got the Steelers down to the Green Bay 19, and finally, the touchdown on the final play occurred. Notice how on some of the most important plays of the drive, Green Bay gave up large chunks, most of said plays having zone coverage defense. So essentially what we've got is the most penalized team in the NFL giving up too many big plays on way too many penalties in a softer form of defense meant to run the clock down, but giving up a lot of yards in the process. In the final drive Pittsburgh had in the Super Bowl, there was quite frankly none of that. For one, Green Bay committed no penalties. However, that obviously isn't the whole story. After giving up a first down to Heath Miller, followed by a 5-yard catch by Hines Ward, it may have seemed to Packer fans that their team again was simply going to let up too many yards in the hope that either time would run out or they could contain Pittsburgh, just enough to not allow a touchdown. But instead, Green Bay seemingly learned from their mistakes back in 2009 and utilized man coverage, relying on their elite secondary to play clean, disciplined football. And after those 2 aforementioned completions, Green Bay was able to hold Ben Roethlisberger to 3 straight incompletions to secure a Super Bowl XLV championship. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Do you think if the game in 2009 had gone differently or hadn't happened at all, that the same result would have happened in 2010? Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.